Welcome to Nerdling Rush, your source for everything nerdy and fun.
I'm Nerys.
And I'm Dom. We are a we're a duo today. We are a duo. We've got a couple of people down and out, but we are here to provide you with all your nerdy goodness and news and what have yous. Everything that's been happening lately, we've got here for you today.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I love the excitement. That's awesome. Okay, so today we've got a couple of things on the docket. Just sort of going through the news of the week. We've got a couple of trailers that broke down after we put out our last episode, so we've got a little bit of catching up to do. But we've got some news. First, let's start off with Wonder Woman 2. It's got a release date for December 2019.
It's the stupidest release date ever.
It's going to conflict with Star Wars, and I think that's not wise.
Yeah, it's... I understand the wanting to kind of compete with another major film franchise, but I really think that Star Wars is going to beat them.
So here's the thing with Star Wars is... Star Wars appeals to absolutely everybody.
Yeah.
Right? There isn't one specific type of person or one, age group. Star Wars is literally made for little kids and the adults that watch them growing up. Right? So the appeal for Star Wars is going to be big. They're going to draw in families. They're going to draw in old fans, new fans, what have you. And Wonder Woman 2, as successful as it was, doesn't have that same audience.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And... yeah, Star Wars it's just because it's been a staple since the 70s, basically. There's been a few gaps in there, but people are still so stoked about Star Wars because it's just been,
it's been a part of everyone's childhood.
Yeah. And 1, 2, and 3 aside, dumps and fires movies, the prequels, but the original trilogy did so well, and then episode 7 did fantastic.
Yeah.
So
relaunched the franchise. Sure, there were little gripes, but yes, episode 7 definitely Force Awakens brought it back and brought it back well, and brought in new fans and pleased old fans, and it did everything it was supposed to do.
And whereas Wonder Woman was a great movie, and it got people kind of excited a little bit for DC again.
Yeah.
Other than Dom.
Sparked some life in it for the casual DC goers.
Yeah, and so to compete, but we still have Justice League to come out, so that could change people's opinions.
Very well could. It could.
So it's just maybe not the smartest move.
No, I don't think it's the best move by any point. I mean, they could definitely throw Wonder Woman in at any of the slower months in the year, right? Let's say November doesn't have a lot going for it for whatever reason. They could throw Wonder Woman in there, and being that it might be one of the only movies coming out at that time, can capitalize on a whole month's worth of nothing in its competition, right?
Yeah, I could see a smart move being somewhere between, because they want to put it out before the new year kind of thing, because pushing it ahead another year would be even worse. But somewhere between September and November. Yeah,
because those are the slower months of the film season.
There's not a whole lot. There might be a scary movie coming out in September, October-ish, but it draws a different crowd.
Right. If we looked at the biggest movies coming out in the last couple of months, right? You have between September and now, you've had The Foreigner and Blade Runner 2049 and It. Those were the biggest movies to come out. And not that they weren't good or that they weren't really well known, but it wasn't like a Star Wars or a big summer blockbuster kind of movie. They were just they're more of to fill in the gaps, and they were still pretty good, mind you.
And you also have capitalizing on the family market. You've got the My Little Pony movie.
Exactly.
So
I almost totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
You mentioned it, and I remembered seeing. Okay, yeah.
And it's not I haven't seen it. I kind of want to see it because I adore My Little Pony Friendship is Magic.
I'm gonna stay away from that.
But it's a different crowd.
Yeah.
So it's very much the family crowd. So they're smart in not trying to compete with the winter.
Yeah, exactly.
The Christmas releases. So.
And you know what? Sorry, didn't have enough coffee today. Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it fares against Star Wars, which can hold its like sales for an entire month, which we saw with Force Awakens.
Yeah.
So, you know what? We'll see how it goes. Only time will tell. But until then, we've got some more news in the realm of DC. We've got Jason Momoa's coming out and saying that the Aquaman you may be seeing in Justice League may not be the one you're familiar with. That's interesting, given that I think he looks pretty awesome as Aquaman.
I think he looks super awesome.
He's definitely sold it for me.
And even for what he was saying was most of the actual Aquaman movie, he's not the Aquaman that everyone's familiar with.
Yeah. I think here, I'll pull up the quote here. While many fans are expecting to see Arthur Curry's alter ego fully formed, Momoa says we'll meet Aquaman relatively early in his evolution. Momoa goes on to say he's not even really Aquaman yet. He's not the king of the seven seas. We don't really get there until my solo movie, and even then, it's at the very end. Really, it's a huge growth for me. It's a gigantic arc for Arthur Curry. It may be tough for a lot of fans to watch what they're going to see, how I portray him, but you gotta wait until we get to the solo movie to really know, because he's not king yet.
So I found that really interesting. So we have so Wonder Woman was introduced in Batman vs. Superman.
Right.
And then we got her origin movie, but she was already Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she was fully formed
by
that point.
Yeah. But we're getting like a
King of Atlantis Aquaman.
Yeah, which is, I find it's really cool. So we're getting like not just the character introduced before his origin story, we're getting the character introduced like ridiculously early
before he's even established.
Yeah, before he's even had an origin story like himself.
And I think as an Aquaman fan standing before you, I think that this might be a really good thing, because if you throw him right into the king role right away, you miss out on so much of the struggle and sort of the character development and character arcs that you get with him before he becomes king, because some of the best Aquaman moments have been him trying to deal with, you know, the sort of mentality that he's Atlantean, but he's also human, but he doesn't fit in Atlantis because he's not a full Atlantean. He's a half-breed, and he doesn't fit in on the planet, like on the surface world, because he's not fully human. So he's got this dichotomy of he doesn't really belong anywhere, but he tries to serve both. And I think that seeing this pre-King of Atlantis Aquaman, we're going to get a lot of character moments, a lot of good character building, and really seeing his character develop and see where it goes. I mean, you even get pre-King of Atlantis Aquaman, you see him and Mera not exactly friends. Yeah. The love of his life is not exactly the love of his life at that point.
Yeah, which is, and I think it's actually kind of refreshing to see this, because we have, like, with every, like, you know, kind of origin movie for superheroes, we already, like, the casual fan already knows the fully formed superhero. Right. So, like, we're just, like, you know, the Spider-Man movies we're just watching, apart from Spider-Man Homecoming, we're watching a lot of the same stuff over and over. Yeah. Like, for the Superman origin things, we're watching the same thing
we know. Yeah, we've seen it, yeah.
Aquaman isn't
he isn't in the public eye. He's not like the poster child, right? He's not the Superman and Batman or the Spider-Man and the Iron Man.
Yeah, and he's also kind of, like, up until recently, he's been a bit of a joke character.
Yeah, everyone makes jokes. Yeah. I've heard them. Trust me, I've heard them.
So it's really cool to see a character before he's, like, the iconic character.
Right, and that's what I think we got to see with Man of Steel, with Superman, is you get sort of that struggle that he has to, should I do what I'm supposed to do, or should I do what I want, kind of thing. Yeah. Which, going forward, I think a lot of these studios should take note, because you may end up getting a better movie if you think about it in a way that isn't the standard format, right?
Yeah.
How do we present this in a way that maybe hasn't been done before, or that is refreshing or new, right?
Yeah.
You get an incredibly pre-origin Aquaman established that you establish in Justice League, who's unsure, not confident, conflicted, doesn't fit in anywhere. And then you go into that with the Aquaman movie where you've seen the character build up already, so now you just throw him into a scenario where he's going to develop, and you throw things to keep it moving.
Yeah. Whereas, I think it really works with him because he's a half-breed, whereas for someone like Wonder Woman, the Wonder Woman movie was awesome. Mm-hmm. But she doesn't, like, other than, like, a few critical moments where she's like, we gotta help these people, but, like, what do I do kind of thing?
Yeah.
She's always been that tough little girl who just wants to learn how to fight.
Right.
And she grew up in, like, on Themyscira, so it's a very, like, it's ingrained in her culture and everything. Whereas Aquaman, because he's, like, between worlds, you get a lot more uncertainty.
Yeah.
And doubt, you have, like,
and you don't know
you have the ability for all that.
Yes, you have the ability for him to grow and develop, and you get to see it in a refreshing way.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is necessarily all a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a really interesting take on the character that in Justice League he's not fully formed, which that makes sense. Like,
and I think it's also like almost good for him to give us a heads up.
Yeah. That way we don't... Right, because then it prepares us for what we're going to see, and then we don't get more pissed off because we're like, this isn't the Aquaman we wanted.
Exactly.
I sound like a fish. Interesting stuff to come out. Thank you, Jason Momoa, for letting us know that, we might be getting a very different Aquaman. Appreciate that. Thank you. What else do we have on the docket today? We've got
another superhero who's getting a story arc, but not necessarily individual, like, solo movies.
Right, yes, that is a very fair point. We've got the Hulk in the Marvel side of things that is getting a story arc in the MCU, but not in a solo Hulk movie.
Yeah.
Because Universal doesn't want to play nice, and they are not giving their distribution rights back to Marvel. So Marvel's working around this, and essentially...
This is what happens when, like, 50 different people own your characters.
Yeah, pretty much. So essentially, the Hulk is going to have a 3-movie story arc that starts in Thor Ragnarok.
And then the other 2 are Infinity War?
I don't know.
I saw one was Infinity War Part 1.
Okay, so Infinity War Part 1, cool. I'm learning things too.
Probably Infinity War Part 2, because that would make sense.
Okay. Infinity War Part 2, I mean, yeah. What else? Who else would he really pair with? I don't know if it would be Infinity War, because I'm trying to think, like, with Thor Ragnarok, right? Having Hulk in there and giving him all that time with Thor makes sense. And then to have both Infinity Wars be sort of the Infinity War / here's some Hulk going on. I feel like they could probably pepper it out a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what other movies he would work in other than maybe Guardians 3. I don't know, because he gets cosmic. But all I know is I'd like to see
so it's Thor, according to Sci-Fi Wire, who spoke to Cinema Blend.
A very reputable source, by all things, internet sources.
It was Thor Ragnarok, Avengers Infinity War, and the, as of now, untitled Avengers 4.
So both Avengers sequels and Thor Ragnarok. Yeah. Okay, so we'll probably be seeing it a lot sooner than we think.
Yeah.
Alright, so Hulk will get some limelight, I guess, in these movies. I'm really curious to see what the runtimes are going to be on the Avengers movies.
Yeah.
Just because there's so much they have to do with that.
Yeah.
And for it to be like 2 hours in total, I feel would be a real letdown.
Yeah. It would be a huge letdown. They can't
make it 4 hours.
Yeah, they can't
right?
They
can't make a 4 hour long movie.
Even making a 3 hour long movie is a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I'd sit through it though.
I mean, like, I'd sit through it, you'd sit through it, Kenny and Mo would sit through it, but like the kids would get antsy, and the parents who don't know these things so much would probably get antsy as well. I think they would lose
So
more
what are we
money
thinking?
if it-
245, 230?
I'm thinking 2.5. Yeah.
Okay, 2.5 hours. Okay, that's reasonable, but I still think there's so much they have to unpack, and I guess that's why it's a two-parter, because it's really just one storyline sort of split, right? But to throw in more screen time for Hulk in these is interesting to see, like how that's going to evolve and where he's going to be.
Yeah, it actually doesn't surprise me that they're going to start a Hulk story arc, considering watching the trailers for Thor Ragnarok. Like, he is, and like any of the promo stuff for Thor Ragnarok, he is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like basically the whole point of the trailers and then the promo is it's Thor and
Hulk come together.
Come together, yeah.
And it's really interesting for me because we're getting this. What probably wouldn't have worked before now is we're getting the Hulk that can speak.
Yeah.
Right? And we're getting this really colorful, vibrant world in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Which, before Doctor Strange wasn't necessarily a thing Marvel would touch all that much.
Yeah.
And so because of the success of Guardians and Doctor Strange with these worlds that are sort of extravagant and colorful and really vibrant, you can see that happening, and you can have a believable talking Hulk.
Yeah.
And in the canon of the story, you sort of get, well, maybe he's been in charge and Bruce hasn't come out in a while. Because from what we're seeing in the trailers is Bruce doesn't even know where he is.
Yeah.
So it could have been Hulk's taken over, and he's taken over for a long time. And so he's been able to learn how to speak, albeit maybe I don't know how many years, but at the level of a toddler, which is kind of fun. And to see
he's essentially like what his character is, a giant caveman.
Yeah.
Like a giant green caveman.
And I want to see him change color over the course of the story arc. Like something happens in Infinity War that pisses him off so much that he turns gray to the Gray Hulk.
Yeah.
What was it Joss Whedon said in Age of Ultron? He wanted Hulk to turn gray when Scarlet Witch messed with his mind and turned him into basically pure rage.
Yeah.
And the most angry he can be, he turns gray. So I want to see him get a color change, because we know that the Marvel now isn't afraid to take some risks. So maybe turn him some gray would be pretty sweet. Or maybe we'll see the Red Hulk.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome stuff. But yeah, I'm curious to see where the story arc goes. I hope we get some development with both Hulk and Banner, and maybe there's some inner conflict that we'll see. Be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. And I'm terrible at watching movies until
That's okay, I've got you covered.
Years after.
Yeah.
Have we really had much of a Thor Hulk pairing before?
Not in a couple of scenes in the Avengers.
Yeah, but
that's about it.
But didn't we have more? We had more of a. Hulk's been paired more with other characters, hasn't he?
So in the movies so far, Bruce Banner's side of things has been paired with the Tony Stark because they're both science bros.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think he's been paired with a lot of. Because I'm trying to even think in the comics, he's usually just around with the Avengers. He doesn't do a lot of teaming up. He does a lot of destroying things.
Yeah, and has Thor really been paired with anyone? Because I know the huge pairings, obviously, because the conflict is Captain America and Iron Man.
Right, they're sort of at odds, yeah.
And Black Widow has been paired up for scenes with someone.
With Hawkeye.
Yes, with Hawkeye.
Because they're the two humans.
Yeah. But I feel like Thor and
Hulk
haven't really had...
Not in the comics that I'm aware of. I think for the most part, they really only share a couple of scenes in the movies.
Yeah, so to have them paired up is actually, because they're both kind of...
out there.
They're out there, and, they're, Thor is definitely, comic relief character. He is just, smashing his coffee cup. This is great, another, and then...
Hulk is another...
Hulk be, just being Hulk,
He can sort of, sort of the moments where he's where he and Thor were talking in the trailer, and they're talking about how he's a fire, and he's but you're a puny fire and I'm a big fire kind of thing. So it seems like they're definitely going to be able to play off of each other for that comedic aspect, which is pretty good. But yeah, I don't think, for the most part, they've ever really been paired up in that way.
Yeah, and I think to me at least it makes sense.
Yeah, because they're generally characters that I find personally Hulk works better in an ensemble sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because in the movies we've seen so far is Hulk being sad and Hulk destroying things, and then Bruce Banner being sad because he destroys things.
Yeah.
So definitely this shakes things up, and I'm really curious to see where his arc goes.
Yeah. And then Thor just walking around being
Thor.
the God of Thunder.
Yeah, being the God of Thunder, but he's not as cocky as he once was.
Yes, that
he's
is
more
true.
of a benevolent ruler.
Yeah, he got some sense knocked into him.
Yes,
Forcefully.
Very early on.
Very early on.
He's
very
been
forcefully.
stripped of his powers once.
Yeah.
Oh, we should probably segue. Let's segue to the next one, shall we? What else do we have? We've got a couple of the X-Men Dark Phoenix saga. So the actress who plays Storm, whose name currently escapes me. Come on, Storm lady. We've got, what's her name, is Alexandra Shipp. So she's come out and says that the third film in the current new sort of X-Men storyline, she's saying that X-Men Dark Phoenix is going to be it's going to be more faithfully interpreted than the last time Fox tried to do a Dark Phoenix storyline in X-Men 3, X-Men United. Now, I don't know how I feel about this, because she could say whatever she wants, but at the end of the day, I feel like we have to understand that she's promoting the movie and she's trying to give it some good light. She said that it's definitely a darker world. A lot more is going on at this point. I can't say too much, but what I can say is that as a fan of the X-Men franchise, I know a lot of people are going to be happy with how accurate this one is. Now that Simon Kinberg has a little more control, he is able to really allow this X-Men world to flourish.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, like, I mean,
I think it's, yeah.
I think what it is for me is at this point I've seen so many X-Men movies and not a lot of them have been really spectacular, that it's sort of like, it's just sort of like,
I think that's
okay.
why I actually stopped watching X-Men movies.
Yeah.
It's just because they got kind of
Yeah, because there hasn't been like a reprise, and they haven't all been really great, right? Like Marvel. The thing I'm going to point out here is Marvel has been able to pump out entertaining movies.
Yeah.
And they weren't incredibly divisive, and so there's no fatigue there. But with the X-Men movies, it's been going on for 17 years now.
Yeah.
Not all of them have been great. There have been some misses, and when they've missed hard. And with this sort of news, I'm like, okay, we'll see it. I mean, I'm going to go in with an open mind, but my expectations aren't very high for the most part. I think the last really good X-Men movie I enjoyed was Days of Future Past, but the extended cut, not the theatrical cut. The Rogue edition, I think it is. The Rogue cut. But yeah, I mean, all the power to them. If they have a great Dark Phoenix movie and I go out and see it and it's awesome, cool. But I don't have very high expectations for this one.
And I'm also... I mean, I adore Sophie Turner. Like, she is... I absolutely adore her. She is, like, the sweetest thing that I've seen, like, on Twitter. Obviously, I don't know her personally, but I've seen her on Twitter.
What? You know her personally? Is that what you just said?
I don't know her personally.
Why can't we get her on the show? I didn't ask her about stuff like Game of Thrones and X-Men.
I do not know her personally, but she seems super sweet on Twitter. She's also like BFFs with Maisie Williams, who
like
also,
real life sisters.
Yeah. And she's also very.
They're both in X-Men movies. Can we just wrap our heads around that for a second?
But she's playing Jean Grey, who turns into
the Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix.
Because of the Phoenix Force and all that.
And we've only really seen her in Game of Thrones.
And X-Men Apocalypse.
And X-Men Apocalypse. So... And I haven't seen X-Men Apocalypse, so...
Well, you know what? Just watch the first half.
Yeah. Okay. I will do that. So to see her, like, she's great as Sansa Stark. I'm not sure how she is as Jean Grey in X-Men Apocalypse.
She's an interesting Jean Grey. I think the big drawback for me is the two things is I saw Sansa.
Yes.
But I also, her accent was her American accent was wavering a little bit.
Was wavering a bit? Okay,
So maybe she'll have it refined by the next one.
Well, yeah, she's been, like, doing this, but then, again, she's also been filming Game of Thrones, so...
So it's like, you've kind of got two mindsets going on. Fair enough.
And I really hope she does a successful Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
And they've also got, of course, Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique.
I don't know. I feel like they just need to not have Mystique in these anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like these franchises the X-Men franchise can succeed without Jennifer Lawrence attached. Quite frankly, I feel like a lot of fans of this franchise would prefer that she isn't in a huge role.
Yeah,
in the franchise.
We also have Michael Fassbender.
Yes.
As
Magneto.
Yes, Magneto. He's a bad guy, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah. Well, sometimes he is and sometimes he isn't.
Kind of like Mystique?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least the Mystique. Yeah. They've both flip-flopped around in these movies and in the comics. So we'll see which side they're on this time.
Yeah, and then we have Evan Peters, who is Peter.
Who's Evan Peters?
Quicksilver.
There we go. Peter Maximov. Technically Magneto's son.
Yes. Who's been in, like, Kick-Ass.
He's been in everything.
American Horror Story.
I mean, the cast is great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think...
I'm not complaining about the cast. I'm just kind of reading out who's in the cast so that
to
we can
fill in some time, maybe. Because sometimes our discussions aren't as long as they need to be when we're just two people.
And because Kenny slept in.
Yeah, Kenny. Sleeping in. You sleeping in guy? No, he works hard. It's fine. We're here. We've got the content for you. Also, I just came across my Twitter feed. There's gonna be some Stan Lee Funko Pops.
Oh, that's
Stan Lee
cool.
cameo Funko Pops.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we've got like the Patrolman, the World War II guy. Yeah, we've got all of them. They're so cute. Look at them.
Oh, those are adorable.
Just look up Stan Lee. 2 words. Funko Pops. Yeah, they look pretty cool. I'm wondering when these are gonna drop.
I'm still bitter that Wonder Woman Funko Pops are like Wonder Woman like herself is sold out like everywhere. I can't find her.
Yeah, I made sure that when they came out, I grabbed it right away.
Yeah,
because I knew.
I'm still waiting.
You can borrow mine if you want.
It's okay. I want my own. You might not get her back if I borrow it.
Fair enough.
And then, of course, I'm gonna get a Hippolyta and a Antiope.
Yeah.
Yay.
No Steve Trevor, because Steve is Yui, because he's a boy.
Of course.
What do we got?
Because I don't have, like, 20 Doctor Who's.
No, you don't have... There's not even 20 Doctor Who's.
No, There's
only 13.
Do I have 11? I think I have 11. I think I have 12. I think I have 10. I have River Song. And
do you have K9?
I don't have the Funko Pop K9, but I do have a K9.
Like you have a dog at home?
I have a little, like, it came in those, like, little, you know when you go to, like, Chapters or, like, Indigo, you get, like, there's a turny thing with, like, the little boxes of,
so like a little surprise thing.
Well, no, it tells you what it is, but, like, you get, like, a little figurine and, like, a little book.
Okay, cool. So you get some material with it. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I like that.
I didn't even look at the book. I just had the K9.
You're just like, yes, K9. Mine.
And he talks, and it's awesome. Actually, my dad got it for me, and I came home, and it's like, oh, K9, yay.
Thanks, Dad. You're awesome. Yeah. So what else do we got? We got
trailers?
We got some trailers for you.
Trailers.
We've got some trailers that dropped. When we recorded last, New Mutants dropped literally a couple of days after, so we didn't get to talk about that. We've also got the Black Panther trailer and the Punisher. Now, the interesting point. Let's start off with the New Mutants.
Yes.
I think that this is a really great change of pace. Just from what I've seen.
I think it's really cool. I also think it could be terrible in execution.
Okay, in what way? What are your thoughts?
Well, Because I think, like, the trailer looks really, really cool because it's a horror movie.
Right.
It's not...
That's how they're marketing it, yeah.
And I actually, like, when I saw the trailer, I was really surprised. And it looks like this, like, you know, post-apocalyptic, like, Dr. Xavier, or Francis Xavier...
Professor Xavier. We'll just call him Professor X.
Professor X. I'm terrible with names.
Francis Xavier.
His name is Francis, isn't it?
No, it's okay. Charles.
Charles?
Earth's different Earth Charles Xavier is Francis Xavier.
Is there someone named Francis?
No!
Okay.
It's just Professor X.
I don't know.
Mr. Charles Xavier.
Mr. Charles Xavier. He looks like he should be a Francis,
He could pull off a Francis.
He could. So, Charles...
Yes.
A.K.A. Francis. Like, he's gone. He went off in an expedition with Logan. He's gone.
Right, he's off
dead.
Doing a Western.
Yeah, possibly dead.
Maybe dead.
He's old. He's ancient.
Right, because we don't know where the time jump is for this. If it's the New Mutants post Logan, or if it's New Mutants in between this current X-Men Dark Phoenix and before Logan, like, let's take Logan as, like, the very end. And I feel maybe it's more in the middle of that.
But do we also know who any of the characters are?
Yeah, we've got Wolfsbane, Sunspot, Magic, Cannonball, so, like, these, like, B-list sort of mutants. Magic is the sister of Peter Rasputin, and Peter Rasputin is Colossus. Okay. So they're the metal alloy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his sister. Sunspot we saw in X-Men Days of Future Past in the future sequences. He was the fire guy.
Okay.
So I feel like this one is going to be before Logan, because I feel like Logan is like the end point.
But either way, it's there's
no Charles.
There's no Charles.
These very well be, because what it looks like, right? Because we get in the trailer that they seem to be in some sort of testing facility. Yeah. And
very Deadpool-y testing.
Very right. So it could be like mutant testing. It could be along the lines of William Stryker's, like,
that's where I got Francis from. It's from Deadpool.
Oh yeah, Francis, right. Yeah, Francis. Yeah, okay. All right, I see where you went there. Okay. This is really your plan the whole time.
Exactly.
Oh, Nerys, you smart cookie. Yeah, no, it definitely looks like
it's a horror movie.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they're in some sort of testing facility, and maybe the things they're experiencing could be some sort of, like, hallucinogen that they're pumping them with to try and, like, get their powers to come out, right? Because there's the green goop, and it's sort of like the green stuff.
You see them being, like, injected with things. You see their blood being drawn.
Maybe they're trying to bring out their mutations. Yeah, you know.
It looks really cool. But it looks. So the trailer looks really, really cool. The trailer looks like...
It looks like a horror movie.
It looks like a horror movie. It's probably, like, the best horror movie trailer I've seen in a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you not like the current trailers for horror movies lately? Happy Death Day? It?
Yeah. I actually haven't seen the It trailer. But just some of them I just... Not a fan.
They're just forgettable, is what you mean?
Yeah, they're just forgettable. I find this pretty cool, also because it's a crossover with the superheroes.
It's two genres melding together.
But again, I think because of that, it could be very bad in execution.
And so maybe they try to do too much of horror and not enough supering, or
both,
or they're trying to do both at the same time and it doesn't work,
or they do too much of one. Not enough of the other, whether it be too much horror, too much superhero, whichever, or they just try to do way too much
in one movie. Fair enough. I think definitely if they're going to be doing too much of a thing, it's going to be too much horror. Yeah. But I don't think that, like, as much as it could go wrong, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, because they definitely need a bit of a refresher with the X-Men franchise, because it's been stagnating for so long.
Oh yeah, they absolutely do need a major refresher with X-Men. It just depends if the refresher is a good thing or a bad thing.
I definitely think that it could definitely start, like, it could pioneer a new sort of genre where it's cross genre, right? So you get horror and superhero coming together, where I was telling you this a little bit earlier, but that the plot probably is going to be unlike all the other horror movies where they're trying to escape the scenario and the monster that or what have you is chasing them, that they have to just escape and they have to survive and someone dies. But with this, the twist could be, well, how do they get out of the situation? Their powers develop and then they fight their way out.
So again, being predictable could be an issue.
Right. But it also can twist both genres on themselves, which is crazy at the same time.
Yeah.
Hoping for good things.
Definitely hoping for good things.
It looks cool. I think that they're all being manipulated psychologically, and there's some sort of demon because of those things with the walls and the plastic.
If this actually ends up being good, this would be something for DC to look at if they want to make darker movies.
Yeah, probably do it in the right way. And it also means that probably Marvel, the MCU, is not getting back their X-Men. If this can succeed and they have successful movies, they're probably not going to get back the X-Men.
No.
Which is sad, but at the same time, diversity's good.
Other than, What's-Her-Face and Metal Boy from Deadpool.
What's-Her-Face and Metal Boy. Cable and Domino.
No.
Oh, you mean
Deadpool.
Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's-Her-Face and Metal Boy.
They're both owned by Fox.
Are they?
Yeah, Fox has got Deadpool.
Oh, Fox does have Deadpool.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was part of the MCU.
No.
Oh, okay. My mistake then.
Nerys, you little scamp. Right, so with that, New Mutants, we move on to the Black Panther trailer.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
So good.
Sort of the total opposite.
Yeah.
We go from dark and creepy and scary to colorful and vibrant and very, hopeful. I think the biggest thing for me
and
was...
lots of action scenes, too.
Action. Action is good in a movie.
Yeah.
About people fighting.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good
trailer.
thing.
It's like, it's an action movie.
I think the cool thing about this, though, is... we get to see this world of Wakanda, and it feels like an actual world that has a history and everything is functional and things are working.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas in some movies, as an example, wow, this is not dawning on me, but it doesn't feel like they just threw something together and it doesn't look like it works. Yeah. But with this, right? Like there's functioning elements, like they've got their own crazy awesome skyscrapers. They've got like a transit system that looks like it's like magnetic or like levitating. I think
maybe a somewhat of an example would be Asgard. Doesn't really necessarily, at least from the first Thor movie, it didn't really feel all that fleshed out.
Right. They just kind of threw you into it.
Yeah, you had the dining hall and the dungeons and maybe a little bit of the surrounding area. You had different you had other planets that were felt really fleshed out, but not so much Asgard. Right.
Which we can take going forward. I feel like this movie is going to bring we get to see the history too, because there's the rites and the rituals that come with becoming Black Panther, and dealing with the tribes and all that kind of thing. So I definitely think that they've fleshed out this world, and it's going to be really cool to see them in sort of an Afrofuturism type world.
Yeah.
Which is going to be really awesome.
And it's really because this Wakanda is very similar to the comics.
For the most part, yeah.
Oh, it is similar?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, they're hidden away from the world. Everybody thinks they're a third world country when really they've got advanced technology, on the level of, cosmic level, Guardians cosmic level sort of stuff, right? It's got this weird purpley glow that the Chitauri weapons in Homecoming had. Yeah. So it's definitely cosmic level technology, above the rest of the planet sort of thing. And you get, even in the trailer, right, they're flying into Wakanda and they're going through 3 different force fields to cloak the whole entire city to make it look like there's really nothing there, which I think is awesome. You get what else? You get a new suit, right? We see a new suit, which has got this weird, like, phaser technology where it's like maybe he's already wearing it and it projects his clothes, and as he needs to change, it just sort of peels away his regular looking thing.
Which is really cool. And, like, I think it's really cool, like, that they kept it similar to the they have, like, the cosmic level, like, technology and everything, and they kept it similar to the comics where it's like that. And then there's also because there's a moment in the trailer where you see him, it looks like a spiritual kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so you get a little bit of like, you do get the high-tech thing, but then you also get, like, more of a traditional African
how the
thing
society
going on.
How the society is even entrenched in that sort of spiritualism.
You get, like, the spiritual, like, religion and stuff, and you have him wearing, like, he's wearing a very traditional, like, white outfit.
Yeah.
That looks very, like, it would be in place in... Like,
in their culture.
In the cultural and in certain African countries today. Yeah. And it's very connecting of the two. Like, this superhero, like, fantasy kind of thing going on, and also, like, real life, real spiritual, real cultural thing.
I find that you definitely are going to get really good nods and elements in a film when it comes from someone who cares about it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the director of this one is definitely entrenched in that in his own culture, right? You could say, to an extent. And the fact that literally, I think the only two white characters are Professor Ulysses Claw.
Yeah.
Ulysses Claw and Andy
Serkis.
Serkis's character, and Everett K. Ross,
who's
Martin Freeman's character.
Freeman. Yeah.
Which is amazing. Like, we've needed something like this, that it's not, white power all the time.
Like, even, well, like you said, like, the director, like, he cares about it. Like, the director's a black man as well.
Yeah.
Which is, it's kind of like, with Wonder Woman, where the director was woman.
Yeah.
So
when you get people who are entrenched in and care about these sort of stories and messages, you will get what already looks like a really cool and amazing movie, and it explores the ideas of your place in the world and how you fit in, because as we've seen in the trailer, the villain it's not anything new. It's the same sort of Marvel type thing where it's the opposite or the dark version of the character. So he's going up against what looks like to be Jaguar, because he's got a Black Panther suit that's got a little bit of gold trim.
Which is actually kind of funny that it's like
Jaguar,
the quote unquote, black, like, or not black, the quote unquote dark version of
is
it
brighter.
Is bright, exactly.
Whoa! Wow!
Like,
yeah.
Black Panther, you can't get much like
can't get darker than that.
And Jaguars, they've got spots, so like black spots, but they're yellow.
But it's basically going to be two guys in Black Panther super suits. One's going to be purple and one's going to be gold.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see the differences there, and you get sort of the parallel of someone who's maybe been entrenched in Wakanda his whole life and may not fully understand what this person who's been, because he's got an American accent, we can fully assume he's been exiled at one point and hasn't lived in Wakanda, who might know more about the world and who might know more about dealing with these out of place problems.
Yeah. And you see them when they're flying, and then I believe it's Lupita Nyong'o who says, "Oh, we're home."
Yeah.
And so like that's a pretty good indication that he's been exiled. Or at least he's been away.
Right. Because he's had to deal with all the Avengers stuff.
Yeah.
But my curiosity here lies, is this going to take place after Civil War? Because or is it going to be before Civil War? I feel like it's probably going to be after. So does that mean we might see... Is there any casting for Chris Evans in this?
For Chris Evans.
Yeah, is he on the bill? Because if he isn't, then I'm not sure where this movie fits time-wise. I feel like it's definitely after Civil War, but are we not going to get any Cap bits in it? Probably not.
It doesn't look like it. Like, I'm going pretty far down on the list.
Yeah. So then it definitely takes place after Civil War. It could very well be like the next day.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe Captain America coming to Wakanda with Bucky happens after this adventure.
Yeah.
Right? So, not that it's important that he's in it, but it's just, sort of these story threads that haven't been touched for a while.
And I think it's good that he's not in it.
Oh, for sure.
Because of the type of character he is, and I think in this movie it's very important to have as little white superheroes, villains, etc. as possible.
Well, essentially, Everett K. Ross, Martin Freeman's character, is a sidekick.
Yeah.
Maybe even kind of a point of view character, but I don't think he'd be a point of view character.
No.
But anyway, yeah, I feel like this might even be before Cap decides to bring Bucky to Wakanda. Because I feel like, you get some development here and what have you.
Yeah, because you don't even have Bucky in here either. So.
No, and it's definitely taking place after Civil War, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I definitely loved all the cool technology that they had, right? And they've got cloaking technology, they've got super awesome flying ships, like...
That you, just hold your arms out.
Which, quite frankly, you probably would get tired, and, what if she sneezed?
Yeah, I sneeze when
and then the whole ship goes across.
I sneeze when I drive all the time, so...
So having them put in one position is not cool. Definitely not safe.
Not safe at all.
With that, we go from one Black Panther to one Dark Punisher.
Yes.
So the second trailer for The Punisher came out a couple of days ago, as of the time we recording. But Punisher looks like, first off, it looks like it's going to be the craziest, the darkest, the more violent of all the Netflix shows.
Yeah, and considering we've watched some pretty heavy stuff, so out of the Netflix shows, Daredevil and Iron Fist are not light and fluffy by any means.
Right.
But compared to Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, they're pretty light and fluffy. They have their dark moments, but they're pretty
tame.
Tame, yeah. And then you get into the whole psychological thing with Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
And with Luke Cage, it's race based, and he's dealing with being an ex-con kind of thing. And then with Punisher, it looks like you're getting into PTSD. I am apparently dyslexic today.
That's okay.
PTSD with being a soldier and everything.
Yeah. Coming home and is there a war that is still being is there still a war to fight when there's no war to fight?
Yeah.
But I think with this is you get the elements of him dealing with his own PTSD, the loss of his family, the conspiracy element to it, which I really enjoy, because typically it's just right in the sort of mainstream Punisher mythos it's a bunch of criminals that take out his family.
Yeah, it's the mob.
Right, and what we're finding out here is there's a bigger conspiracy to it.
There's big conspiracy, because his background in the comics, he's a vigilante. He was a war vet and a U.S. Marine Corps sniper. It was stealth tactics, guerrilla warfare, martial arts, yada yada yada.
Basically a human weapon.
Yeah, a human weapon, which is pretty standard.
But
when it comes to 1970s anti-heroes.
Fair enough, yeah.
But then in this you see a lot of psychological, mental things, mental illness kind of things going on in the trailer.
Well, and even you get to see that they turned him into an assassin, essentially.
Yeah.
That the governments that are essentially there to protect America and do what have you have turned this man into a weapon, and he finds out, and they have to get rid of him because and he quotes, "But they control what's true."
Yeah.
Right?
And you see him as his gruff veteran self, like, just come back and everything. And then you see him very, very changed.
Yeah, because they kill his family.
Yeah, well, obviously because they killed his family, but...
But he finds a compatriot in this who's experienced something very similar, that his family was taken away by the CIA or the FBI or whoever it is, the military, that he finds a compatriot in this, and he's got a partner or a sidekick, and they're both in it to take down the people responsible for eliminating their families. And it sort of goes back to the classic Punisher mythos that anyone who's guilty will pay. Yeah. Right? It doesn't matter how petty your crime is. If you've done something wrong, he's coming after you. This one is definitely going to be a bit more personal than for the most part, but I think it definitely opens up a new way to explore his character, where it's not just, okay, so he killed the crime lords that supposedly kills his family, but there's another layer. It's actually the CIA or the military that planned for this to happen and put him in that position. And and he's just come back from war, so he's dealing with like the trauma of that, and the fact that they tried to kill him and fail, so he's got he's literally got PTSD and probably some other stuff going on because he had a bullet in his head. Yeah. And I enjoy his the costume that they put him in. Yes, very, very accurate. Pretty awesome. The fact that they were able to throw in another Metallica song and it actually fit. Yes. The trailer was pretty cool. The one thing though is I get that it's supposed to be like a dark character, but the color scheme is sort of the standard Netflix color scheme, like yellows and blacks. Yeah. You know what? We'll see how it goes. Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Hopefully they're not Michael Baying it.
No, they're not going to Michael Bay
it. With the color scheme, I mean.
Oh, okay, fair enough. And there will be there'll be explosions. There's going to be explosions. It's the Punisher. Karen Page is going to be in it, so instead of Night Nurse... Yeah. It's going to be Karen Page, which fits because he knows her well. Yeah. And she's sort of got the, maybe we'll see some more of her backstory, which we haven't seen since season 1, right? Where she's done something, and it's something bad, and no one knows what it is, but she can sympathize with Frank Castle, which is interesting. So maybe they'll go into that a little more. She's the one, she's from Daredevil? Yeah. Yeah, I thought so. I thought I recognized her. I'm like, what poor thing has this woman done to deserve all this? I think I don't know what her past is per se, because they're definitely not taking everything 100% from the comics, and they're changing it as it is. But I think she maybe she killed a person, or maybe she's done a series of murders. I don't know, and she's trying to be reformed. Yeah, because she has a huge she's got a huge role in Daredevil. She's got a pretty big role in Defenders, yeah. And the fact that the first time we see her in Daredevil is sort of this flashback kind of scenario where she's standing over this body. Yeah. Right? And she could very well go to prison, but it's Matt Murdock who comes in to save her and what have you. And then people are after her, and it's just this whole thing. So... And she's got a pretty trauma... she does have some trauma in her history as well. So that's the thing, is will through Punisher, through this series, will we get to see some more of that? Yeah. Be interesting to see, because she's able to sympathize with Punisher in season 2 of Daredevil, so it goes to... it begs the question, how murky or how bloody is her past? Yeah. Be cool to see that explored. Very cool. Looking at things we're looking at, because we can read, and when we look at things we read, and when we watch things we're also looking. So things we're looking at, and that we like, that are in our lives. Nerys, just random things? No, something related, obviously. Something related? I did. Yes. Today on the pull list, my bunny rabbits. No. But I love my bunny rabbits. Yeah, your bunny rabbits should be part of the pull list. Who am I kidding? Well, I guess marginally related. Actually, I think it's more than marginally related, and also seasonally accurate. Ooh, seasonally, okay. Since we're coming up to Halloween, I've been rewatching
The new Addams Family.
Yeah, that's cool. The 98 series?
Yeah, 98
okay.
series. Yeah, I still need to rewatch the movies, and I want to rewatch like the original series, like
the black and white one.
The black and white one. The 1960s or 70s or whatever it is.
I
60s?
I think it's the 60s. Sorry, guys. No coffee today.
Yeah,
Full of yawns. The 98 one. I think I saw that one too.
Yeah, I watched that a ton growing up, and I just rewatching it, and it just reminded me just how much I enjoyed it. Like
kooky, but spooky.
But it's also very wholesome.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
The show didn't at one point the show used to be called Addams Family Values or something like that?
No, that was the movie. That's one of the movies.
Oh, okay.
That's the 1992 movie with Christina Ricci.
Awesome. Right. As it Wednesday?
As Wednesday, yeah. And it's just watching, and it's so this is super niche, but you've got Morticia and Gomez are the most loving parents. They support their kids no matter what, and they're very affectionate in front of their kids. So it's you compare that to a lot of other TV family dynamic TV shows of it's This Is Us, or even Parenthood. I don't know if you saw Parenthood. I didn't know.
So it was very real, really real. Bad things happen, and that happens in life, and they're trying to show that. But then you get Addams Family, right?
It's but even compared to some of the more idealized ones from the 60s. And whatnot. Leave It to Beaver,
Leave
which
It to Beaver,
50s, or I Love Lucy, or shows
that. Do you count the one with the Bundys, Married with Children? Did you ever see that one?
I never saw that one.
No, Christina Applegate played the daughter, and you had the girl who does the voice of Leela was the mom.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just a lot of other shows you have. They're great and everything, but they don't have that almost solid parenting team.
You don't get the solid front.
You don't get the solid front. You don't get the solid you don't get just the pure emotions of how supportive this family is. They will do anything. Their ideas are a little strange. We're going to take off our coats so that they will catch a chill, and, they're going to run in the house with scissors.
It's a little bit opposite.
But it's incredibly supportive.
Yeah, and loving. There's a lot of love there.
There's a lot of love.
Yeah, they have to stick together. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Anything else? Just that? Anything you're reading that's awesome?
Anything I'm reading that's awesome?
You could say no, that's fine.
I'm just thinking of books that I've recently read. I've been trying to read some horror, a little bit of horror, a little bit of but YA horror, and I've found a couple books. I found a collection of short stories, Monster Boys and Slasher Girls,
cool,
or something like that, which was pretty good. But then other ones that I've read have just been kind of weak,
okay,
and not at all frightening.
So definitely the watching of the television shows have been the highlight for your playlist.
Yes.
Okay. Fair
definitely.
enough. Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's some pretty cool stuff. Me, what have I been doing? I've been watching lots of things. I've been catching up on Game of Thrones.
Nice.
Actually watching every episode instead of doing the recaps because I'm so far behind. Yeah. I did halfway of season 4, then I did 5, and I just finished 6 last night. Then I'm going to watch 7. I know what happens.
Yeah.
I know what happens. I just haven't watched it because I've been watching the recaps and trying to stay with it. But now that I'm seeing it happen,
it's so much better.
Yeah, it's a lot better, and it's emotional. And I was like, "Why did I do this?
Yeah, I need to
Why did I do this?
I need to rewatch that soon. What I also need to rewatch soon is Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So I can be all ready for
13.
For the Christmas special.
Oh right, there's the Christmas special first. I thought he already transitioned.
Not yet. That's the
Christmas specials are usually fun.
Yeah. Usually.
Yeah. Usually they're on a letdown. No. What's my favorite one? It's a 10. It's the 10th Doctor. Is it the 10th? Yeah, it's the 10th Doctor. It's the one where he thinks he's found another Time Lord.
with
and the guy's just been memories have just been implanted. Spoilers.
Yeah. And there's the Cyberman, and he's in like the...
He's in like 18th century London.
Yeah. And he's got like his not 18th century, 19th century.
Sorry, 19th.
He's got his like his TARDIS, his hot air balloon.
Yeah.
And
I think that's my favorite Christmas special.
That's a good Christmas special.
Because it deals with like the whole dichotomy that Tennant and Tenth have is like he'll give you a chance to redeem yourself.
Yeah.
He'll give you that chance to do good, but if you don't, he's going to stop you. Yeah. Which is what he does.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, the leader of the Cyberwoman lady, he's like, I can give you the chance to like start over and to go somewhere and not do any harm. But but you have to stop. And she's like, no, you will never control us. And then he's like, okay, bye, boom, and he does it. Because he's cutthroat, but he's regretful about it because no one wants to take their opportunity to be good people. Yeah.
I enjoyed that one. I also enjoyed what's that one called? I think that's
The Abominable Snowman?
No, I'm talking the one that you just talked about.
Oh.
Which
I totally forgot. I don't know. I feel like people understand. I think it's called
The Next Doctor.
The Next Doctor.
I feel like that's what it was called. I enjoyed The Runaway Bride.
That one's good, yeah, with Donna.
And we get that because we
no coffee.
Because we see Donna before we see Donna. Mm-hmm. And like when I first watched this, I'm like oh, this character's really annoying. But then I go and I watch the Donna season, and then I go back and I'm like, oh, Donna.
Yeah. It's got a special place in our heart.
A Christmas Carol was great.
Yes. I agree with you.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of misses.
No. The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe.
That one wasn't as strong.
It wasn't as strong, but it was...
It was entertaining.
Yeah.
Just wasn't as strong.
Yeah, the Snowman was good. I'm still kind of iffy on Time of the Doctor.
Oh, yeah. But it did its purpose in so much as it transitions to that next step.
It had its moments, and same with
Is it because of Clara? Is that why?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't like Clara.
Same with Last Christmas.
Last Christmas, I'll give you my heart. A merry next. It's too early for that. I apologize.
Husbands of River Song, though. That
okay,
I think
that's a solid
probably
one.
My favorite. And then the Last Christmas one was
Last Christmas, I give you my heart.
The most previous Christmas episode was the Return of Dr. Mysterio, which was not terrible, but it was odd.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even...
The superhero one.
I didn't really want to watch that one. It just didn't appeal to me. I was like, I think they're trying to do too much here.
Yeah, it's not horrendous, but it's...
not the best.
Yeah, it's probably like the weakest that they've had. Yeah.
Well, on that note, there's a lot to look forward to in the future. Some great trailers, awesome movies coming out. We have lots more to discuss in the future, but we'll get to that in the next episode. There's some Halloween things going on. There's some movies that are going to drop next month. We've got Thor Ragnarok and Justice League. Yeah. So November is going to be exciting for that. We'll try to get all those details out to you as soon as we can. But in the meantime, let us know what you thought. Did you like the New Mutants trailer? Are you curious for this horror superhero genre? Are you stoked for Hulk getting a little mini story arc in the MCU movies coming forward? Do you find Black Panther as awesome as we did? And how do you feel about Aquaman not being Aquaman right away? Let us know. We are on all the social media sites, Twitter, Facebook, we're on SoundCloud. We've got an Instagram account to show you pictures of cool, awesome things. We are on YouTube now, actually. We post the podcast episodes there in case you can't get them in the other places, which, I mean, it's all pretty accessible, but go onto YouTube anyway. You can grab them there and
you can't see our lovely faces.
No one wants to see our lovely faces. They're just too lovely. Our eyes are just not meant to process this kind of loveliness.
Of course.
But anyway, that's all we've got for you today. That has been another episode of Nerdling Rush. I'm Dom. This is Nerys.
I'm Nerys.
There she is. And we'll see you when we see you. Hopefully it's in the future and it's not too far away.